Hi, Leo, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your December 2022 Astro Update. It's Rena here. Well, the Sun and Venus and Mercury begin the month in the house that you rule, which is the fifth house. And this is the house of love, creativity, the business that you own, and pleasure. Pleasure can be any kind of fun activity that you engage in. And hobbies are part of this area. But given the fact that this is a holiday month, it can simply mean that you are going around, maybe socializing, going to parties, going to the theater, maybe with some people, but just celebrating. Leos are known to like to celebrate. Why do Leos like to celebrate? Well, there's a certain pomp and circumstance when we have these holidays where, the Christmas tree and the tinsel is so shiny and Leos love bright shiny objects and things like that. So it's right up your alley, in other words, holidays in general. So you're probably going to have so much fun this month in December that's not even funny. Fun, but not funny. And yeah, so the month begins with that going on, but also on the 3rd, Neptune goes direct and it's at 22 degrees of Pisces. This is your 8th house, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, is that a doozy of a house. This is Scorpio's domain. You have both Neptune transing here the last 10 years, and Jupiter has retrograded back into this area. Now Jupiter's is direct, but it's still in Pisces as the month begins. And this 8th house is really such an amazing place because it's, to me, ultimately all about transformation. Like your personal alchemy, how you decide to approach life. Are you going to blame other people for what has happened, or are you going to be your own personal alchemist and change what you don't like? But it's also the house of other people's money. So, for instance, if you are coupled and maybe like living with someone or married, Neptune retrograde may have been a disheartening period of time if you have found out that your partner has been mismanaging funds, or maybe whether it's like your shared resources, which the 8th house represents, or their own money in some way. So now that Neptune goes direct, that might be over with to some degree. And it's also the area of other kinds of things like inheritances, and that can be disillusioning as well. That's what the retrograde can bring, is disillusionment. So if there was some kind of confusion about a will, and you find out that you had a sibling who lied about receiving the money and barely distributed money to maybe you, your other siblings, and you feel resentful of that, that can be part of what has been occurring. But now Neptune is direct, and you can move on from that situation. On the 6th, Mercury goes into Capricorn, and this is the 6th house of your service to others, otherwise known as a job. It can be health matters. It can be the workplace, your co-workers. There might be negotiations of some sort. I don't know what, but if you are looking to get a raise, get some kind of promotion, you might have to be having some talks with your employer. Um, this can be some kind of work. Maybe you're getting some kind of communication about a job. And because Mercury is going retrograde later in the month, you may even at some point between September, late December, and for the first few weeks of um, January, hear back from an employer. Maybe you put in an application many years ago or many months ago and are only now hearing back from them. On the 7th, there is a full moon at 16 degrees of Gemini. And for you, this falls in the area of the house of hopes and wishes, the 11th house. It's possible that you are ending some kind of friendship or finding out something about a friend. This is the house of gains, so this can be very lucrative for increasing career profits or business profits. On the 9th, Venus goes into Capricorn. So there again, we have this area that is very practical and connected with employment, lit up like a Christmas tree. And Venus in this sixth house speaks to money coming from work. So that could be some kind of raise. Venus can bring harmony to the workplace. On the 20th, Jupiter goes back into Aries. So this is yet another trine, but this time it's coming from the other side. It's before you, Leo. So this is the 9th house. Jupiter rules the 9th house. So Jupiter is in its own domain, which really intensifies that influence. In terms of what that represents, Jupiter represents world travel, so long distance travel, higher education, spiritual matters, and these areas can be blessed. Publishing is the 9th house. On the 21st, the winter solstice or summer solstice is in Capricorn when the sun goes into Capricorn. So sun going into that 6th house as well. Down to brass tacks. Into organization, maybe into new diets, eating well, eating better. Because on the 23rd, there's a new moon here at 1 degree of Capricorn, so it could be a whole new regimen, health regimen even. New job. On the 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, yes, in this area. So for those people who are looking for work or think that they have landed the job because they heard, something on the phone, be prepared for your resume to get lost and having to resend it, or something that delays, maybe in some cases, your ability to work when you want to. We're going to go into the new year with this retrograde. We're not necessarily going to feel that new year vibe on January 1st. We're actually having a full moon on January 6th in Cancer. But I think, towards the end of January, when we have the new moon in Aquarius and beyond February, because we're going to have Mars go direct in January and Mercury go direct in January in the second half of the month. And I think that the um, energy level will pick up because when you have these personal planets that are retrograding, they really do affect us at a more personal level. So, um, in your case, this has to do with the sixth house matters. So, that could be rethinking a diet, rethinking a job. Maybe you get a job offer and your first impulse is to say yes, and then you think about it a little bit and you're like, I'm not quite sure. Now, the fact that Jupiter is back into that ninth house, because it was there earlier this year, um, maybe there was some kind of situation where you could have left the country, and it might have even been for work, and you kind of hesitated because the timing wasn't right. Maybe the timing is right now. So, I mean, I'm really saying this knowing that there's a Mercury retrograde, but it obviously I'm just talking about the general time frame. So that might at some point while Jupiter is in that ninth house, even beyond this month and beyond the Mercury retrograde, you might be, and especially when Mercury goes direct in January, that you'll have made up your mind, and then you can move forward and decide what you want to do. Okay, that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, I'm promoting my double readings that are called my deep dive readings because they're longer and so I can get into it more. And they're a special price because you're buying a package deal rather than each reading separately. So it's 1 hour of natal chart interpretation and 1 hour of transits for 2023. And we can look at what are the astrological trends based on your exact natal chart. I have another version of this double reading called the whole enchilada with the tarot, and I have standalone readings. So you can check out all that information at the link below. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.